Hello everyone. Ode on a Grecian Urn by John Keats. We will analyze the third stanza in this lecture, which is in continuation with the second stanza, where Keats speaks about the permanence of the beauty of art as compared to the impermanence of the beauty and love of human beings. Keats writes, "Ah, happy, happy boughs that cannot shed your leaves, nor ever bid the spring adieu." He says that the boughs or the branches of the trees which are depicted on the urn are very happy. He repeats, happy, happy boughs, happy, happy branches. Why the branches are happy? Because they cannot shed their leaves. Because they are depicted on the urn and they cannot shed their leaves will remain permanently green and attached to the branches, nor ever bid the spring adieu. These branches cannot bid the spring adieu, farewell, cannot say farewell to the spring season, the flowering season, the season which brings new flowers and trees and leaves. So they are very happy. Again, we see here Keats compares the branches or the trees or the spring, the season which is depicted on the Grecian urn, to the spring season that we see in our real life. The season, spring season, and the green branches which are depicted on the Grecian urn are permanent and they will never lose their beauty or greenery, and the spring will always remain there. The spring season will always be there, and there will be no autumn or winter or summer. Always there will be spring on the Grecian urn. So this again, he stresses the permanence of beauty, the permanence of art, and compares it to the impermanence of the season or the happiness in this world. Because here in our life we see that after the spring season the summer comes, and also there is autumn and winter. So we see that Keats emphasizes the everlasting nature of the scenes that are depicted on the Grecian urn. The trees and their branches and the melodist or the musician who cannot play an old note or an old song. These lines reinforce the idea of timelessness and also the everlasting or the sustained joy in a piece of art. Keats says, and happy melodist, unwearied. Happy melodist, the melodist or the person who is playing the musical instrument, or the person who is playing the pipe, the youth who is playing the pipe, he says that he is very happy. Why he is happy? Because he is unwearied. Unwearied, untired. He never gets tired of playing the pipe. Again, here we see how Keats compares the pianist or the melodist who is depicted on the urn on a piece of art to a human being who plays a musical instrument. A person, a human being, gets tired after playing, but the melodist who is depicted on the urn will never get tired. Again, Keats shows the permanence of art and the impermanence of human beings. Forever piping songs, forever new. Another difference between the melodist who is singing songs on the Grecian urn and a human melodist is that the melodist who is depicted on the urn will forever piping songs forever new. He will be singing songs forever. A human being cannot sing songs forever because he will have to die one day. Secondly, the musician on the Grecian urn will sing new songs forever because his songs are imaginary, whereas human beings have a limit of creating new songs. More happy love, more happy love. Now Keats compares the love of the musician or the youth or the love which is depicted on the Grecian urn to human love. He says that love which is depicted on the Grecian urn is very happy. He repeats happy thrice in this line, and just to stress happiness. Forever warm and still to be enjoyed. He says that the love which is depicted on the Grecian urn will remain warm forever and still to be enjoyed, and always it will be enjoyed, whereas love in human life loses its warmth after some time, and so it cannot be enjoyed forever. Forever panting and forever young. He says that the love which is depicted on the Grecian urn will always remain very passionate and forever young, whereas love in human lives loses its passion after some time and its warmth also after some time. And people also do not remain young always. He further writes, all breathing human passion far above. The love which is depicted on the urn is far above the love which human beings show or have in their hearts. The love on the Grecian urn surpasses the love of human beings because it is permanent and can be enjoyed always. Now he speaks about the human love, that all breathing human passion far above, that leaves a heart high, sorrowful and cloyed. He says that human love leaves a heart high, sorrowful, full of sorrows, and also a person becomes satisfied in this love. And it also leaves a burning forehead and a parching tongue, a burning forehead and a dried tongue. But this satisfaction is not achieved by the love on the Grecian urn, which is always permanent and which is full of passions. We can summarize this passage and we can say that there is no aging of the trees and there will be no seasonal shift of the season depicted on the urn, and the figures on the urn are also free of the pain caused by time. They are free of sickness and death, which Keats has repeated again and again. He also says that the physical love which human beings involve themselves in is surpassed by the love which is depicted on the urn because it remains passionate forever. Thus, according to Keats, all the passions of living human world are far removed or in contrast to the figures depicted on the urn. And these passions, human passions, cause heartache, lovesickness, lovesick fevers, and also leave a man thirsty. So continuing to speak about the piper who was unable to kiss his beloved, Keats says that he is happy because the songs of the piper or the musicians will be forever new and happy, that the love of the boy and the girl will also last forever, unlike mortal love which lapses into breathing human passion and also eventually vanishes, leaving behind only a burning forehead and a parching tongue. Thank you.